Hello and welcome back to the Pedram Core Sports Show presented by Prospect Apparel. Today we are joined by royalty in the form of Cage Warriors Bantamweight champion Caolan Loughran. How you doing, man?
Never better, lad. How are you?
Doing well, man. Now let's talk about the big title win. Dylan Hazan in enemy territory. How good did it feel to get the finish in the biggest fight of your life?
Well, I always come for the finish, but just special, lad. Just a special time. The whole trip, the whole week, even the days leading up to it, where usually like cutting weight. That's obviously it's usually not that enjoyable. The last few days of the fight week, I was just in such good spirits. Just me, and my team. It was me, Colin, John Gillies, and Ralph. The couple of days leading up to it, just flying the room was just so special. Obviously, the event itself was pandemonium. The Italian people, the Irish people coming together, and then I've had a few days out. I was in Rome until the Tuesday after, so just the whole trip, and then not the man I became Cage Wars champion in the middle of that. Like so, just a really really special time, and just the best experience of my life. The whole week, just the best experience of my life.
Any special things you did while you're in Rome? Things you had to visit, obviously, like the Colosseum and everything. But
Uh,
any standout things that you went to see when you were in Rome?
I've seen it all. Done the whole tour thing. It was me, my girlfriend, and then my family was there. My favorite is the town hall, like that main building, the town city, or that city hall. I've
Mm.
never seen anything like it in my life. Absolutely unbelievable. Obviously, the Vatican too, and the Colosseum. No, a cool city, class place. And then they obviously had all my mates over for the Sunday too. So that was just a partying session. But no special, just an unbelievable time.
And how is champ life treating you? You know, you've been a champ for a little bit now. Anything new in life, or is it just back to normal?
Well, I'm very much back to normal now. I'm back in Liverpool. I'm training away, but being home was mad. It was like for me, you see, it was always like when the Cage Warriors title was always like a step to get into the UFC. That was very much what it meant. There was never like it never really even cracked as like a big deal in my head. I never really thought of it as anything really until I seen like the backlash when I got home to Tyrone and around Northern Ireland. It was mad. Like as it was mad. The amount of people who watched it, the amount of people, the support I got from back home. But that was humbling. Definitely changed my life back home. Absolutely, the amount of people who were on to me after it, and just wee things like going to the same primary school I used to go to, and just people coming up to you and stuff. Definitely changed a lot of things that way. But for me, it's very much back to the task in hand. UFC and back to Liverpool. I'm away from home again. I'm back training, so nothing really changed in my life, but maybe the external changes a wee bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, I totally get that. And you mentioned going back home, and you mentioned your primary school. How did that opportunity come about of going to see everyone at the primary school? Did you get invited? You know, was there like an email
Yeah.
or text your manager? How did that happen?
Yeah. Well, see, like where I'm from is like rural Tyrone. It's like very everybody knows everybody. It's like the middle of nowhere, like up a mountain. Like so, they just came to me and asked me what I do. It like one of their parents asked me, is like 100% I do that. I absolutely love to do that because I remember there's a sport I'm from, Gaelic football, and I remember the rise in primary school where I'm from, Tyrone won the All Ireland, and the footballers would come in, and that was like mad to me. I remember it stuck in my mind from when I was a child, and then I was thinking, like, now I'm the guy who's going to this guy. That's just that was mad. But that is what it is. It's nice, you know. I mean, if there's any way you can help out some kids on the way up, I'll always make time for that. You know what I mean?
Totally get it, man. And Irish MMA and Irish combat sports in general is just crazy right now. You know, with Ian
Yeah.
Gallagher getting that big head kick a couple weeks ago, you winning the title,
Mhm.
Paul Hughes in November, Reese McKee defending recently. What is it in Ireland, and also like Liam McCourt in Bellator and stuff? What is it in Ireland that is breeding these amazing combat sports athletes?
Um, you would have to you'd have to give credit to Conor McGregor's rise, I
Yeah.
would say. 10 years ago now, Conor McGregor was signed with the UFC in 2013, and obviously it was big in America, but can you imagine what it was like in Ireland? Like, it was literally like every when I was in school, like literally all anyone was talking about was these fights, these big moments, and drove a lot of like kids into MMA gyms, myself included, and it just grew. If you go to an Irish amateur MMA show right now, it's like packed. It's insane. The atmospheres are insane.
Yeah.
They the level is improving every year at amateur in Ireland, like noticeably. My brother just fought in maybe the highest. He fought. It was split decision loss. A lot of people thought he won, but it was probably the highest level amateur fight I've seen in a long time. With sprawls and Granbury rolls and slipping head kicks and just shots, stuff that you wouldn't have seen in amateur a while ago. But the level is constantly improving as the sport is improving. And I think a lot of that would probably have to come down to what the Mac done 10 years ago. Do you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
has to be.
And I want to ask you as well, with The Ultimate Fighter coming out tonight, or at least the first episode, what do you
Yeah.
think of Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler? Do you like that matchup for Conor? I personally do, in terms of if Conor is any good form of himself. What do you think?
Yeah. 155 pounds in the UFC is a dangerous place to be. I think Michael Chandler's probably the best stylistic matchup he could get. I laughed at him. He was asked about what he thinks of Michael Chandler. He goes, he's a master of the medicine ball. Because that's what he does. He's just
Yeah.
a really
No, his
athletic guy.
workout videos are amazing. There's one where he's doing the medicine ball and then he just does like 6 backflips in a row, and it's like he's just a freak athlete.
Yeah, he's a madman. Technically, I think he's wide open. He's actually wide open for a southpaw's backhand. If you're being very specific, I think it's a good matchup for him, but he needs to get his head screwed on. Like, I'm watching him in Monaco. Fucking, he looks absolutely blind drunk. Like, I hope he wins, but there's no. I don't let you know what I mean. I'm of course supportive of him. I would love nothing more than to be on that undercard, but I don't want, like, you can't cheat the game. You know what I mean? If you have to
Yeah.
prepare for these things, you can't be out. You know what I mean? I just watched his notorious documentary, and he was saying the problem with Khabib camp was that he was living multiple lives. He wasn't living the martial arts life. Well, if he's living that life now, you know what I mean? You can't be. It's gonna come back to get you. I hope he knocks Michael Chandler out. Obviously, Michael Chandler could knock any 155-pound man out alive
I think he'd
himself.
knock a horse out if he punched it hard enough.
100%. But no, I think that's a good matchup for McGregor in the 55 division. And please God he gets it done. And please God I'm on the undercard.
When do you see that fight happening? I've been kind of researching. They said he has to
Yeah,
spend 6 months in the USADA pool, getting
yeah,
to the point where we're now at the end of May, entering June. Do
yeah.
we think it will happen even this year? And I saw something on YouTube, and someone said if he's going to be out for so long, and UFC 300's coming up, what if they put him at the top of that? Right? Do you think
Mm.
that could happen if
How
he's
far away would
not in
that be? What are we on now?
UFC 300 would be April next year, I think.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Uh, I seen Dana saying that they're talking about a big fight in MSG, then moving McGregor in December.
Yeah, I think it just depends on when Connor gets in the testing pool. I think that's I don't think Dana has any control over that either. It's all about
Yeah,
Connor.
yeah. I hope it is this year. I hope it's December. John
Yeah.
Jones, MSG, McGregor in December. That'll be class, wouldn't it? That'll be
Yeah,
class.
really would be. And let's get back to you. Nathan Fletcher has had some words to talk about you.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
been saying that, you're just waiting for the UFC. You're not looking at him. You're not looking at defending the title. How do you
Yeah.
respond to that? He's been talking a lot, I've noticed.
I have no response to that. And yes, he has been talking a lot. He's just so bitter. He just seems so bitter. Because, I mean, I understand it. Nathan beat me in the amateurs years ago. So I've obviously overtaken Nathan. I'm in a better position than him. I have a bigger following than him. I have an undefeated pro record. I have a lot more hype than him. I understand why he would be bitter. But why, like, and then he says that I'm not taking any risky. I listened to that interview. I got sent that interview. Uh, I don't want to take a risky fight against him. But I just fought Dylan Hazan. And I literally said in the build up to it, not one of these guys is anywhere close to the level of Dylan Zan. He literally wrestled for Italy, wrestling the World Championships. If he couldn't even get that hip. He got that hip one time on his wrestling, and I waited for his duck out and I sprawled it and got defended. He didn't even close takedown. Like, what's Nathan Fletcher going to do? There is no risky fight for me in Cage Wars anymore. So I'm not calling him out, because why the fuck would I entertain a conversation with anybody behind me? I am expecting my next fight to be in the UFC. I know that there's talks going on at the minute, but if it doesn't happen, which I do think it is going to happen, then of course I'll go back and fight one of these guys. But like in my eyes, like again, Nathan Fletcher or Wilson Hayes. Nathan Fletcher's 50 times easier. In what way is Nathan Fletcher better? Like, he's what, jiu-jitsu? Wilson Hayes is a jiu-jitsu world champion. He fought for a UFC title. He is 100% a harder fight than Nathan Fletcher. Absolutely 100%. He's literally only lost to the elite of the elite. He's an MMA legend. He's fought for a UFC world title. Sorry, that go off there. So in my opinion, Wilson Hayes, who's been more impressive, I think, lately than Nathan. Nathan had against some Italian boy, and I laughed at him and left the cage saying, "You're all fighting bums." I'd never seen this guy in my life. I've never heard this guy who he was. And then you went at the decision with him. And then Dan Dice came in. I was there fucking cage side. Nice finish. It was a good finish, but Dan Dice, I mean, he literally was mounted by Nathan Fletcher and tried to throw a double jab backhand from his back. Literally tried to go punch upwards. Like, he's not a good grappler. So if that's next, please God it won't be, because I want to fight better guys in the UFC, bigger names. But if it was, he's literally a shit version of Dylan Zan. Literally a shit version of Dylan Zan. So like I literally, me and Nathan Fletcher, that's literally not even a hard fight. I would walk him down and beat the shit out of him. I swear on my life, I don't think he's even a challenge in any area. I literally would fight him with no respect. I'd walk him down. He couldn't take me down. He couldn't take my punches. Simple as that. I'd definitely finish him. But I want my next fight to be in the UFC. Of course, I want bigger names than him. I want to look forward. I want better guys. And that's what we're working towards in the minute, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. And you mentioned the UFC Boston card. I think a lot of Irish talent, and maybe just Cage Wars talent in general, I've noticed, are trying to get on that card.
I don't think that's going to happen, to be honest, lad. But it sounds things.
No?
Yeah.
What? I guess, is it too soon now for that? Do you think?
No, not. I just that card in particular. I just don't think it's. I think the card's actually full.
Really? I don't think they've announced much, unless I've missed
I know why.
everything.
No, nothing's been announced.
Well, I wanted to talk about matchups for you, Reese and Paul. You know, the one I pitched to you on Twitter was Brian Kelleher, and then he's had neck surgery, which, you know, that's out of our control. It's good for him, you know, push that down the line maybe for you. You've mentioned he was down. Yeah, he just I think it's best to get a healthy Brian Kelleher for you, right?
I love that fight, Brian Kelleher, 100%. 100% love the fight, Brian Kelleher, but I'd say I get neck surgery, so that's that. You don't want to you want to protect, like, a neck surgery seems pretty serious, so you'd want him to be. You don't want to rush him back, you know what I mean?
And you've had some words for Cameron Simon, but he is booked against Christian Rodriguez, I believe his name is, who beat Raul Rosas Jr.
Right, yes.
So that's set. But would that still be a fight that you want to push for?
Cameron Simon? Yeah, 100%. I would absolutely annihilate Cameron Simon. I'd maul him. I'd take him down, mount him one round. 100% Cameron Simon. He seems like a skinny dweeb. A guy you just mentioned there was Rosas. Of course, he's on a loss, so that maybe wouldn't happen, but it would still be a very appealing to me. I'd imagine he'll take a bit of a break now from the UFC. I'd say he'll take a time out to train, improve, and level up.
Yeah,
but I still love it. But Cameron Simon, absolutely 100%. I'm actually older, I'm bigger, I'm stronger. I just think I'd maul him. I think I'd absolutely maul him, to be honest.
And if Paul Hughes and Reese McKee were to sign, I think Reese McKee and Brian Battle kind of have like a verbal agreement.
Yeah.
Who do you think they should fight if they were signed? You know, if they were signed tomorrow and you got to pick who they fought, who would they be fighting?
Well, that Brian Battle one is a good fight for East, absolutely. I know they both seem to be especially it's good when you have like you say Brian Keller was coming to me. I've actually had a lot of UFC bantamweight and Muhammad Mokaev was coming at me. It's good to have guys in the division. They're not my division, but in the promotion are actually coming at you outside of it. So race for Brian Battle, that's perfect. I mean, if he's got a UFC guy calling him out, lethal, fair play to him. Paul Hughes, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Why that man is not in the UFC? I cannot tell. I couldn't even. I
Yeah, he
heard
looks
Graham Boylan
massive right
saying it
now
was
too. I saw
what?
some. Paul Hughes looks like massive. He looks
Yeah,
chipped right now.
yeah. See, I was talking to him at my brother's fight. I couldn't actually believe the size of him. He came up to me and he goes, "You're looking Jack." I was like, "You're looking fucking Jack. You're looking big yourself." Uh, I don't know. I think that guy's high level, high level
Yeah, he is.
featherweight.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like at
I think he
140
said
pounds.
something about 155.
Yeah, I hope that
And
doesn't happen.
if thing
Yeah,
is right, like him and George Hardwick may be the biggest stars at Cage Warriors right now.
that
Like
shouldn't happen. I hope they don't fight. That would be
they
so
both
silly.
should be in the UFC,
Yeah,
but like that fight would be so big for Cage Warriors.
yeah,
But it was like it was even the same for me with like Jordan Vucenic and Paul Hughes. Like both those guys are UFC ready.
yeah.
So that to me could have been a fight they could have like done as their debut fight. Imagine that if they put those two just as their debut fights against each other.
That'd been class. That's a good idea. Yeah, I hope that
It's-
Paul and George Hardwick don't fight. I don't know. Like, I don't see a 45er in Cage Warriors giving Paul a hard fight. I don't see a
Mm,
55er in Cage Warriors giving George Hardwick a hard fight.
yeah,
I think they're both really on the just. They should be in the UFC. George Hardwick has turned down the UFC on short notice when Fig
yeah,
Lag took it. So they're both there. You're both not going to lose in the division. I don't see the point of them fighting. I actually don't even see the. I actually don't even see the advantage of Paul Hughes having the second Cage Warriors title. I don't see like Mason Jones came in. Did he come into the UFC with more hype than Ian Gary? No.
yeah.
Like I don't see
Well,
the advantage. I don't.
he didn't
I
have
don't
more hype, maybe, but I I don't know. Mason Jones is kind of a weird one.
yeah, he had two belts. He had two belts. Like
He
I
had
just
two
don't
belts. Yeah,
see.
yeah.
I don't see how the. I just think the
He's
risk is so much greater than the reward. I don't see the point of that fight at all for either of them.
yeah,
For
no,
either of them.
definitely. Because if one of them loses, then they lose their chance to go to the UFC,
Exactly.
right?
You're essentially in the position that Dylan Hazan. I just fought in. Do you know what I mean? They're both right there. Like they're both really, really, really high level. They're not going to lose no division. If it happens now, it will be fuck me. What a fight! It'll be unbelievable, unbelievable fight.
I'll have to fly out again. Like this London trip I'm planning for July, it's going to cost me so much. I'm gonna have
Yeah,
to go again. I'm just gonna have to sacrifice the rest of my year.
yeah. But I said I'd rather see the two of them in the UFC. So see what happens.
For sure, man. And let's go back to you again. If you do get signed to the UFC, inside of a year, what would your goals be? If you had a year plan to set out, what would your hit list or goal set list be?
See, like to be honest, I don't really know the bottom of the UFC's bantamweights because all these like Apex contender series guys, a lot of guys pop up. I don't actually know them, so I'm only gonna call out names. My goal, honestly, would be if I get into the UFC, I've only been in Cage Wars for 4 fights. You know what I mean? Like look at the
Yeah.
hype I've got around myself. My goal would be to take over the division in about 11 minutes. That's God's honest truth. It would take if you put like the way I can get people behind me and get these Irish crowds going. It would be a first, second round finish, give me the mic, and then off to the fucking races, paint Vegas green. That would be my goal. That would be my goal, lad. There's no real names at the bottom. I'd like to fight Cody Garbrandt pretty early in my UFC career, but he's like I'm not going to get a debut fight against Garbrandt, of course.
No, he just got booked as well. I think he's
Do you know
booked
what I
for
mean? But maybe in like even a third UFC fight, you can
yeah.
maybe get up there. See what happens. It depends how you get up, but I'd like to fight Rosas or Simon pretty early. Like to fight Garbrandt a few fights down the line, but I lad just become a fucking MMA global superstar very, very quick. Get Irish people going again because I just took nearly 100 people to fucking Rome, halfway across Europe for a Cage Wars fight. I mean, like, what am I gonna do in the UFC when I get them UFC's platform? Do you know what I mean? Gonna fucking blow up, lad. That's what I think.
How about a UFC Belfast? How that would be much more affordable for me because I could stay with my nana.
Oh,
But
I. Does he live in
that
Belfast?
my nana. So I'll be back in a week for exams, so I've been back and forth the last couple months.
Oh,
Um,
really?
so yeah, my nana lives in Glengormley, so
Oh, sick. I know.
not too
No.
far outside of
Yeah.
Belfast. So
I think Dublin's probably more likely than Belfast for a
yeah, no,
UFC
Dublin's
special.
definitely more likely, but imagine
Yeah.
a Belfast card get you, Reese, and Paul
Yeah.
on that. Like,
So we can
you
still
know,
do Dublin, like, but either or. I think
yeah,
just because how Ian's doing so well, I think it's most likely that he will bring them back first.
he could main event a fight night in
Yeah,
Dublin
absolutely.
right now. If you put
Yeah.
him in,
Oh,
okay,
100%. Yeah, yeah.
Jack Della Maddalena versus Ian Gary, that would be an
Oh, fuck.
unbelievable fight.
Who do you think would win
Stick
that?
that in Dublin. Pardon?
Who do you think would win that?
Both guys are just so. I'm excited for Jack to fight Sean Brady. That's going to be a
Oh,
big tell.
big fight that. Big fight.
Um, it would just be a beautiful stand-up fight.
Yeah.
The
I think they
Irish
might
in
try to
me,
do
the
what's that?
Irish in me leans towards Ian Gary.
Yeah.
Um,
I
it's
think
it's a
Jack
hard fight
McGlenn's
to pick
very
though.
good, hey.
I
I think
can't pick
McGlenn's
against
very
either
good.
guy. Like it's one of
Yeah.
those things. Like I'll never be able to pick against either.
Yeah, McGlenn's got like a professional boxer's jab. His jab looks like a pro boxer. He's very, very, very good. I wouldn't bet against him, to be honest. I think they might try and do Wonder Boy for Ian in Dublin.
I think him and Wonderboy are kind of friends through
Yeah,
karate
yeah, yeah,
and stuff.
yeah, yeah,
That would be huge
yeah.
though.
That'd be big. I think he'd win that too. I think Ian would beat Wonder Boy now.
More see now this interview's kind of turned into a little bit of matchmaking, and that's kind of my favorite thing to do. Ian
Same,
Gary Ian Gary versus Michelle Pereira. I know he's fighting Wonderboy, but that would be a fun fight
aye,
too.
he's mad,
Um,
him.
him versus Wonderboy is going to be awesome as well.
Yeah, he's mental. He's mental.
He's so much fun, yeah.
Yeah,
And going back to your weight class, Aljamain Sterling versus Sean O'Malley seems to be the matchup. I don't think it's officially signed. I think they're waiting on Aljamain Sterling. I think he's got some knocks from the Cejudo fight. How do you see that
yeah.
fight going?
I expect Aljo to beat him. To be honest with you, I expect Aljo to beat him the way I think I'd beat Sean O'Malley. I think he's going to get him down. Purian was fit to hit takedowns, and Purian is a very good defensive scrambler. His MMA grappling defensively is very, very good. Offensively, his takedowns against cage are okay, but his jiu-jitsu is not good. Purian's jiu-jitsu is not good. And he was fit to hold O'Malley in certain positions, and he was like sitting in guard. I think he's too physically weak. So whenever Aljo hits them, he will pass the guard and he will maul him, I think. Now, it might come after a big shot from O'Malley or a big. I actually think his power is very overrated as well. The last guy he knocked out cool was Eddie Wyland, who just a sitting duck with his hands down.
Thomas Almeida, actually.
Thomas Almeida was actually that was lovely. That was actually
Yeah,
lovely.
yeah, that was a good win.
Yeah. Then like Montano and stuff like I don't know. I don't know. I think he lost the Jan fight, if I'm being honest. I think Aljo's been doubted by a lot of people, and
Yeah,
certainly
no, I definitely agree on that. Yeah.
he's weak in some areas, but in other areas he's the best, maybe in the
The ground makes
UFC.
up for it, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
he's world class. I
yeah,
think he's like almost as heavy as me. He's just like a kilo. It puts his vlogs out. I think he'll pass the guard, hit the positions that he's one of the best in the world at, and I think he beat Sean O'Malley. To be honest, I think that's a bad matchup for O'Malley. I do.
Now, let me ask you, you mentioned Piotr Jan, and we mentioned the bantamweight division. I think we can't talk about this division without mentioning the one man in it, and that is Morab Dvalishvili. He is... Can anyone stop him? Right now. Like, you look at the top 5, he just looks unbeatable to me.
Maybe Cejudo might be a bad matchup for him.
Cejudo is the interesting one for me.
Yeah.
But I don't know, he's just like... He's like a smaller Colby Covington on steroids, it feels like.
I know, I was impressive against Pewter. I was sad to see that. Pewter's one of my favourites. I don't know. I think he's a dopey bastard. Like, I don't like him. He is good. Obviously, he's effective, but I don't know. I think he's so stupid. Like, he literally dived head first into a frozen lake. He's a dopey guy.
Those compilations are so funny of him just like doing nuts things. I love him.
Yeah, he's crazy. But now he's fucking good, hey. He's good.
Yeah, he's
He's a
really good.
very effective style. Very, very hard to beat. Very hard to beat.
And this next part of my show, I call it quick fire, but it doesn't have to be necessarily quick fire. It's like short questions, some to do with fighting, and some not to do with fighting.
Fire away.
So what's your favorite movie?
Oh fuck. Jesus. Do you know what? I'm gonna go with the Harry Potter's. The whole sequel, or the whole thing.
Favorite TV show?
I literally don't watch any TV. I watch YouTube and fights. I
Well, let
literally
me
do
ask you
not
then.
watch.
Do you have like a favorite YouTube channel?
Favorite YouTube channel? Fuck. I like Luke Thomas's videos.
Yeah, yeah, no,
He's
he
good.
does a great job on this. Yeah.
Yeah, he's good.
Do you have a favorite sport outside of combat sports? I think I know it from your
Yeah.
merchandise and everything. Is that your favorite then?
Oh,
Gaelic
Gaelic
football?
football, 100%. Yeah, absolutely love Gaelic football. I love Gaelic football.
I'm trying to get into it. Me and my dad said
Yeah,
like after I'm done with my exams in the summer, we're gonna jump into it and we're gonna try and like
yeah,
nerd out because I love sport. I love like I'm a big Liverpool fan. You said you were at the pub during the Everton game. I don't know if do you
yeah.
follow like the Premier League and stuff?
Oh, Anfield. I'm 0.1 mile from Anfield. It's literally there.
That's awesome, man. So
Yeah, yeah, it's cool.
do you support Liverpool then?
No,
Or
Sport United. Sport
so
United.
that's this interview done then, yeah? Um, do you have a favorite fighter?
My favorite fighter of all time is Caolan Loughran, the boxer. Triple G
Yeah,
is my favorite fighter ever. My favorite MMA fighter at the moment would probably be Volk.
Yeah, no, he's awesome.
Yeah,
I keep pointing the wrong way, but that thing in the frame there, that's a
yeah.
portrait of Volt my friend made me.
So high level, so well rounded, so mentally
It's
strong.
so good. Yeah.
Trained so hard. Unbelievable fighter. Unbelievable fighter.
Do you have a favorite fight of all time?
Favorite fight of all time. My favorite fight live I watched, and then my favorite fight to watch back would be two different ones. My favorite fight I ever watched live was Conor McGregor and Chad Mendes at the time
Mm.
because I thought McGregor was going to lose. If I'm being honest, well, not that I didn't think it was. I thought it was a really, 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 really hard fight. And there was so much like build up, and I was in school and thought this was unbelievable. And then Chad came in, goes get him down, caught him. I got up and knocked him out. That's probably my favorite fight to watch live ever. My favorite fight to watch back is Demetrius Johnson, Henry Cejudo. I think I was really high level. A lot
That's,
of
that's a great
it was
fight. Yeah. Who do you
it's,
think won that then? If
I
we're
actually think the number two. I actually think Demetrius might have won. Very, very close, but
super close fight, that's the
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
really, really high level MMA fight. I've watched that. I'd say 25 times.
And favorite fight of your own career?
Oh, Rome, Hazan. It was fucking
Yeah.
nuts.
It's a great fight. I rewatched it the other day.
Dodgy first round, a lot of technical errors. Had a
Yeah.
fucking scrap, but a lot to learn from. But just the emotions and the atmosphere was like I don't think I've been to that atmosphere. It was so tight. It was insane. The two like passionate people, Irish and Italian people. It was literally nuts. And then just the best experience. But that performance maybe wasn't the best performance I've ever had, but definitely my favorite fight I've had ever.
Do you have any strange or obscure hobbies?
No, I've no, I just literally just do MMA and play. I go for the odd kick, Gaelic footballs with the head of it.
I think maybe for the non-Irish fan, maybe the sport comes across different from the traditional ones, but I don't know.
What's right?
Do you think Gaelic football, do you think that's a sport that could grow more into the mainstream as time goes on?
Probably not because the GA don't want to make it professional. It's an amateur sport. These guys all work, so probably won't break out of Ireland to be honest.
No, no, I mean like in terms of viewership and fandom.
What's right?
In terms of viewership and fandom, like as like a mainstream sport to watch.
What Gaelic football?
Yeah.
What do you mean, sorry?
I mean, like, do you think it's a sport that could turn into like a mainstream one for people to watch? Not like play, like a like worldwide leagues, but like fans
Yeah, yeah, potentially, yeah, absolutely. I know it's big in America amongst the Irish community, and it's big in Australia amongst the Irish community, but
Mm.
absolutely, I definitely could. It's very exciting. Like it's massive crowds of like 80,000 people are Finlay, but it could do absolutely. Yep.
And do you have a dream vacation spot?
Vegas after a fight.
Vegas after a fight. And if they were to make a Caolan Loughran movie, who would play you in the movie? It doesn't have to be an Irish actor. Let's in a hypothetical world, any actor that can nail your accent.
Nail my accent. Holy
Yeah.
fuck. Jeez, lad. Somebody from Derry Girls. I don't know.
And what would your movie be called?
The Dawn.
The Dawn. Perfect, man. I think that's a great way to wrap up this interview. Thank you so much for your time. And
No worries, lad.
hopefully we see you on the big stage soon, or we see you defend your Cage Warriors title once again. Congrats.